Yo. What's going on, man? Top of the morning. Today is September the 25th. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We got 2 games to recap, and we got 2 games to look forward to today. And for people who are watching this video, I did do a standalone video for the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever game. If people are interested in checking that out, hit the like button for me as you can as you join. And let's jump into it for today. We'll go, as we always do, we'll go through a quick recap, go through a couple of the comments, and then jump into the 2 games on the board for today. See if we can find some plays, some winners. So yesterday, Joel Lloyd, under 16.5 points, was a winner. Atlanta team total, I took it live at 82.5, was a winner. Sent it out to the members and put it on Twitter as well for people to tell if they wanted to. They finished with 80 points. And then the loser of the day was Ryan Howard, under 17.5 points. She gets fouled with 20 seconds left in the game by Jonquel Jones. She goes to the free throw line and hits 2 meaningless free throws when the game was over. She played every second of the game, all 40 minutes. She didn't come out 1 second. And I think that's why we lost that one. That was a sweaty under bet that we ended up losing. And I saw a couple people with the hate mail in the comment section, which is totally fine. I typically don't even address it because I just like the positive energy. But when I get to, the end, and I always talk about the recap, first thing I want to say is you never have to take any of the plays that I post. You can actually fade all of them. You're going to be a loser, but you can fade every play that I take, which is fine. The other thing is the plays that are in red, you just got to do a little bit of reading. And you got to listen a little bit. Because I say in the recap that these are the plays that I'm looking at. If I've played it already, it's green. If my money is on it, then it's always going to be green. If I haven't played it, but I'm thinking about it, it's red. I do these videos 7:45 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not always going to make a play this early in the day. So if I absolutely love it, yeah, I will. But I just want to make sure I mention that. The plays that are in red are not plays that I've put my money on yet. So hopefully, that clarifies it. For some people, it probably still won't. But neither here nor there. Let's see if we can make some money today. Go through a couple of the comments real quick. Anthony says he's first in the chat. Let's go. What up, Anthony? Appreciate you for tapping in. LJ says, yo, Chris, what's good? I took the Sun to win the championship at plus 775 since the Liberty and the Aces play each other. I feel like the Sun have an easier path to the championship. Marina Mabry points off the bench will be key to the victory. Jesus, LJ, I think I completely disagree with that. But, we never know. We never know, man. I think the Sun have the least amount of opportunity, especially given the injury to Ty Harris on Sunday. That's just a little bit less guard depth that they have. Veronica Burden is great, though. I love Veronica Burden, watching her play. But I think, I don't think that they got enough, LJ. But don't let me talk you off. I know they got the longest shots to win it. Helms comes right behind and says, "Sun's not beating Minnesota, my brother." Anthony says Lynx all day as well. Ball Talk says Ryan Howard getting fouled with 20 seconds left on the clock to get it at 19 points was net. But it was so. Oh man, y'all could have seen me punching the air last night, boy. I was so upset. He says absolutely disgusting. Anthony says horrible. Anthony also says Joe Lloyd under points was free money. Helm says Kelsey Plum missed free throws, leaves Aces bettors hooked. I stayed up last night to watch the end of that game, and I thought she was gonna make both of them, but she didn't. I'm glad I stayed away from that spread. What up, Cup of Joe? Good morning, Kristen. Hope everything is well with you. Have a great day. Can't Stop says, "Was Gucci brother, man, the Liberty Dream game sold me super hard last night on the full game under 157.5. Yeah, the Liberty couldn't get a stop. Alicia Gray hit like 5 threes in the first quarter. Just sometimes you're going to get those, variance type games from the Atlanta Dream, and that's what we saw. They were playing with pace. Jordan Canada cleared her assist line, I think, at halftime. It was only 5.5. We cashed on that in the first game. Glad I stayed off the under on that one. But, Liberty just weren't as physical as they were in the first game. What up, Peasy? Top of the morning, Marquise. Redemption says, morning, I'm on the Leah Boston's points ladder. What up, Mitchell? Helm says, I'll never understand why people come to help, why people come to help for plays, to get help for plays, then get mad when they lose. Like, bro, go do your own research there. It's interesting, Helms. It's very interesting, man. Some people I am convinced that some people just wake up. And Cat Williams said back in the old skit, I say this all the time. He said, "You gang banging over bacon? You mad at breakfast?" And I do kind of feel like some people just wake up mad. They got real bad energy in their bodies for whatever reason. Should probably go get a counselor, man. Probably talk to a professional. But I digress. Can't Stop says, can't give this man his flowers. He took the time out to do the homework, so you don't have to. ChrisBeCappinn. Most of the time I do Can't Stop. And NBA season right around the corner as well, so I'm looking forward to that. Max said the Sun not beating the Lynx. Stop. So a lot of people with that same mindset as well. DB says Caitlin Clark bounced back today, especially with Harris down. And K-Hawk says, I bet the Lynx to win it all based on your great analysis. Enjoy the show. Appreciate that, K-Hawk. Let's jump into it for today. We got, like I said, we got two very interesting games. I do think these games are going to be, I think one of them might be a little bit more interested than the other. But let's jump into it. We got the Fever and the Sun. This was the standalone video that I made last night. I saw this line open all the way as high as 8. I'll double check it real quick, but I want to say this open at 8. Now you see money kind of come back down. You see the line get bought back down to 6, and now it looked like it's going back up to 6.5. I could be wrong, but that's what I saw. Let's see real quick. Yeah, it looks like 6 is the consensus. Well, 6 on some books are the consensus, 6.5 on other books. It really just depends on where you're shopping. But this has come down just a tad bit. So let's jump into it. Sun win, and they advance. It's that simple. Fever win, and they go back to Gainbridge Fieldhouse for Game 3. They lose, and their season is over, of course, as well. So when I was looking at this game and I was going back and kind of just looking through the box score, I really think that Game 2 is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult it was difficult to handicap when you get such extreme outliers on a couple different fronts. First thing that really jumped out to me was the pace of play. It was played at a 70. The pace was at the game was about 78, which in my opinion is a tad bit slower. But Connecticut, they literally got whatever it is that they wanted for, specifically, you see the Fever kind of let go of the rope late, but they got whatever it is that they wanted. They were able to win the first quarter. I think it was 23-20. They won the second quarter by 2. They win the third quarter, I think, by 5. So I think they went into the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead. And then the Indiana Fever just kind of it was over. I think looking back, I talked about, we had Connecticut. We was on the right side of the Connecticut in game number 1. And a big reason was because the Fever didn't have a lot of playoff experience. This Connecticut Sun team has been to the playoff year over year, and they continue to lose, specifically in game 2. So you can see, I wrote in the opinion section that right after the game when I was about to call her Aaliyah Thomas. When AT, I can't think of what her first name is. Well, AT, she said post game that they had lost two game 2s in the 2 previous years, and I looked that up. They're 0-2 straight up and 0-2 against the number, going back to last season. And I think that they were dogs in both of those games. I do think it's going to be an interesting battle today. The other thing that really stood out to me was how poor the Indiana Fever shot from the 3-point line. And granted, the Connecticut Sun are the best 3-point defense in the WNBA. But if the Fever are going to shoot, 21% from the 3-point line, I don't think that they're going to stand a chance. Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Lexi Hall combined to go 4 for 25 from the 3-point line. And like I said, Connecticut, they did all the other things right as well. They won the points in the paint, 50-36, which is an outlier because the Fever typically don't give up that many points in the paint. Connecticut won the rebounding battle. They were +2 on offensive rebounds. Connecticut just did every single thing right. And if you like the Fever, same thing I said in game 1, if you like the Fever in this matchup, then you like the 3-point variance, because that's how the Fever are going to keep the game close. They want to play fast. They want to get out. They want to push and transition. A lot of high pick and roll with Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and then she's just looking for shooters, whether that's Lexi Hall, who went 0 for 2 from the 3-point line, or it's Kelsey Mitchell, who got up, I think, 13 threes in 13 or 12 threes in game number 1. So I am expecting a little bit of regression from Connecticut's offense. They shot 33% from 3 on the season and averaged just 40 points in the paint. If you go back and look at game 1, they shot 9 for 18 from the 3-point line, 50%, and they dominated points in the paint. They had 50. So the total opened right back up where it left off, 163.5. And it felt like this game was going to go up and over. But then you see neither team really scored a basketball, great in the fourth quarter. I think Connecticut finished with 19 points and Indiana Fever finished with 12. So that's the only thing that kept this game from going from going over. And again, I think if you like the Fever, you like the over. If you like Connecticut can win this game with their defense. And I do expect some aggression. So I guess all that being said, I do feel like the Indiana Fever can shoot a little bit better from the 3-point line. But I guess if I had to play, I would look towards the under. I did look at some things, and you guys can see them over here on the fact side as well. The Indiana Fever have played the Connecticut Sun 4 times now. And, they played them 4 times. I think it's 4 times, yeah. They are 0-3 straight up and against the number when they're playing in Connecticut this season. They scored 71 points. That was the first game of the season. 72 points in the second game, and then of course they just had 69 in the first game of the playoffs. So they have not played well in Connecticut specifically. I looked at Road Dogs in series game 2 coming off a loss of 16 points or more, which the Indiana Fever, ended up losing by, I think, like 25, 26. 1-9 straight up, 2-8 against the spread. Average line was almost right at 10. And the average margin, they lost by about 16 points per game. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen again, but the one thing that's been super consistent is the Indiana Fever have not been able to play any defense. And that's what makes it difficult for me to want to take the points with them here. I think, what Coach Stephanie White did with guarding Caitlin Clark was brilliant. She ended up putting DeWanna Bonner on her after Dejanay Carrington had played, has started every game that they played against each other during the regular season. So pretty sure the Fever are going to try to counter that. I'm not sure how they're going to counter that, but the Sun just got a lot of length and athleticism, and the Fever just not that great defensively. So it's difficult for me to want to take the points with the Fever here. Like I said, if they get hot from the 3-point line, that is their key to victory, I think, and having some success here. I think I lean under a little bit more than anything else in this game because Connecticut, I'm not trusting them to get back to 90 points again. But granted, the Fever, I put it in the opinion side. They've been road dogs 3 times since the Olympic break. All 3 opponents have gone up and over 90 points, including this Connecticut Sun team where they just scored, I think it was 96, and Connecticut's offense is not that great. But anything shines against the Indiana Fever. So it's difficult, man. Difficult game. I guess I lean a little bit more towards the under. Let's see what you guys are thinking. And I also gonna go over player prop after I go through a couple of the comments. Stigner says, "Come on, Chris. They've been bullying Clark and both dogs covered, so it's clear to fade first half of both games. Just looking for if a degenerate parlay." Both dogs did fail to cover yesterday, and it was close coverage too. So both of those dogs could actually play defense, though. Atlanta, was one of the better defensive teams, veteran team, pretty good coach, I guess, with Tanisha Wright, but they had some vets on their team. I'm not sure, like the Fever have Dantes, and that's pretty much it. I think she's the only player on the team with playoff experience. And the Fever, I think they're just looking to build. Like I don't think that they, think that they're going to go far. I did listen to the post-game practice yesterday, and it sounded like, not that they want to lose, but it sounds like they were just kind of, talking about building for the future, which makes sense in this spot. What up, Prolifi says, "Good morning, Liberty, boy. Oh, no defense whatsoever." It was bad, man. Cuppa Joe says, "I definitely like the best of 3 series because of the home bases deserves at least one playoff game." He likes the Fever here. Helm says 3-game series are fine. They just need to go down to 1-1-1 for home and away. As the WNBA starts to expand and, make more money, Helms, I do think that we'll see this a little bit more. I think right now it's just like it's too difficult. It's too much money for them to fly, from one place to another, then back to another if they need to. Which is why they probably just, you got to earn it if you're not a top 4 seed and don't have home court advantage. What up to my guy, Justin? Max says, "I love the Fever first quarter. Money line. The Sun are physical, but but go on a lot of scoring droughts. Female Miami Heat, Max says. The female Miami Heat is a crazy comparison, but yeah, I couldn't. If you like the dog, why not take him early? I could see it. Anthony says Marina Mabry over her three is a must. Fever have no interest in guarding the perimeter. They did not get out there to close out on a lot of those shots from Marina Mabry. I think she hit 6 or 7 threes. Marina Mabry broke a record for most points scored off the bench, and I'm interested to see if they start Veronica Burton or they just and keep Marina Mabry coming off the bench, or if they put Mabry in the starting lineup. Dante says memo is out. They allowed to clamp up Caitlin Clark again. Rob says Fever gonna be ready for this game. I don't believe in Mabry. She's off more than on. Okay, that's an interesting thought process. Helm says putting Bono on Clark was a good idea. It absolutely was. Now you see the adjustment. We should see the adjustment. Marquis says WNBA says Fever will win tonight for sure. What up to my guy Chris? He says good call last night. What you think about Mabry over 2.5 threes made? I think 2.5 is a pretty conservative number. I talked about this in the standalone video, but the Fever 3-point defense is pretty bad, which leads me to a player prop that I'll talk about in just a second. Mark says, good morning, everyone. What up, Mark? Ball Talk says, I like the Sun here. Fever can't defend. Nothing worse than having your bread on the team that can't get stops. It's like supporting the NFL team that can't stop the run. That's a fact, Ball Talk. That is a fact. That's a hell of an analogy. I agree with that as well. PG says he's leaning Sun as well. I didn't see it down to 5. I don't see 5. I see 5.5, 6. I also saw 6.5 as well. So I know this graphic says 5. This might have been from yesterday when maybe I just didn't change it. It's not 5 though. My fault if you guys see that 5. Justin says I'm seeing 7 minus the Sun. He says missed the line, so I'll try to bet it live. JFX looking for the NBA. She says he'll be on the Sun again. Blunt says she'll be more off today. She'll be more off ball today. Talking about Caitlin Clark. That's an interesting thought process as well. Says, or maybe I'll get the Sun at 8.5, 85.5 team total. Yeah, I'll probably end up playing this game live, so I don't have to sweat anything out. But I will be watching, absolutely watching. Anthony likes Marina Mabry over. All right, cool. Let's move. Oh, player prop. So, I talked about this yesterday. The line has moved, but I do think it's worth playing here. And that player prop is 12.5 for Nalissa Smith to go under on her points plus rebounds. If you watch the standalone video, it's my favorite play, and I did bet that. I haven't sent it out to the members, and of course the line has moved now, but I'm gonna play it at 12.5 as well, just because it's plus money. It'll be a smaller play for me, but Nalissa Smith under on her points plus rebounds. So if you watch the game, she didn't play a lot of minutes. She finished 0 for 1 from the field with 1 rebound. She didn't score a point. She played just 8 minutes and 53 seconds in the full game. But in the second half, she only played 2 minutes and 53 seconds, and that came in the third quarter. She didn't touch the floor in the fourth quarter. And, I think a lot of the reason she didn't play was because they got Dantas. Dantas is the only vet on this whole team. And Dantas played well. She had 12 points, 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. And they also got Timmy Bagley. So that makes it difficult. I do think Aaliyah Boston's going to be out there, but I think Nalissa Smith minutes are up for grabs. I don't know if the coaching staff of the Indiana Fever looked at this as well, but, the Fever have been playing better with Nalissa Smith on the bench. I talked about this in the standalone video because I went and did some deep diving on WNBA advanced stats. And Nalissa Smith on the floor since the Olympic break, they have the worst net rating with her on the floor. They're minus 10 in 297 minutes without Nalissa Smith on the floor. Second worst on the team, plus minus. With her off the floor, they're plus 18.2 in 268 minutes. It's the biggest jump of anybody on the team. So I do like Nalissa Smith to stay under her 12.5 points plus rebounds tonight. I played that already. I didn't play the 12.5. I will play the 12.5. I did play the 13.5. It's available on BetMGM, on Bet365, and it's also available on FanDuel for people that are interested. I did play that. The next one was Brianna Jones, under 13.5 points. Currently minus 115 over on Bet365. And a lot of this has to do with Indiana's weakness on defense, being the three-point shot. Hence, Connecticut shooting 50% from the three-point line and Marina Mabry having a really big game. I think Connecticut is due for a little bit of regression after, making 9 of their 18 threes. But this is also a bottom 3 defensive team in the Indiana Fever that they're playing against. It's not a great matchup for Bree Jones. She hasn't had much success against this Indiana team all season. The first matchup, she had 11, first matchup, she had 8, which was the first game of the season. The second matchup, she had 11. And then 2 in the third matchup, and then she had 4 in that game on Sunday on 2 for 7 shooting. So she's under in all 4 games. And in my opinion, like I said, I just don't think it's a good matchup. Aaliyah Boston's a pretty good, interior defender. And I think you attack the Fever from the perimeter, not necessarily the inside. So I like Bree Jones to stay under her 13.5 points. When I did some deeper diving, I looked at the Fever. Like I said, their interior defense is pretty good. They allowed the 3rd lowest restricted area field goal percentage, so right underneath the basket on the season at just 59.7%. And they hold opponents to the 5th fewest attempts and makes in the restricted area as well. They also gave up the 4th fewest points in the paint, which is where Bree Jones typically gets a lot of her points. So I like Bree Jones. I think that line at 13.5 is a tad bit too high. So those are the 2 player props that I like the most. Bree Jones under her 13.5 points, and Nalissa Smith under her 13.5 points plus rebounds. Let's see. What else are you guys saying here? Dante says, politic-wise, Fever back to Indy would do numbers rating-wise. That's a fact, Dante. That's an absolute fact. It'll be some people, that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but WNBA will make a lot of money to get a game 3. I couldn't agree more with you. Definitely agree with that. What up, Daph? First time I see you in here. I check out your videos when I get a chance, Daph. He says, what up, Chris? I'm on Bree Jones under points and rebounds. She can't bang with Aaliyah down low. And I agree, man. I love that you're on it, Daph. I talked about this one yesterday. I'm going to put it in as well. I think 13.5 is the number. It hasn't moved a lot at all. Appreciate you for tapping in, Daph. Jose says, good morning, brother. What up, Jose? Kristen says Thomas over assists and Marina Mabry over her threes. So, Alyssa Thomas is actually, she scores a lot against the Indiana Fever. She's the one person that goes down there and really bullies them. So just something to kind of take into consideration. I don't really like her assist as much, but she did get a triple-double. So don't let me talk you off. Yeah, that's what I said, K-Hawk. That's Nalissa Smith. I bet her under 13.5 points plus rebounds, and the line is 12.5. I like the under there as well. Cup of Joe Martin, everybody hit the like button. We spent way too much time on this game, but it was fun though. Let's go to the next one. We got the Phoenix Mercury and the Minnesota Lynx. Line is now at 9, and the total is sitting at about 160.5. So the line got a little bit shorter. I think it was 10 on Sunday, and the total was 156 or 158. I can't remember exactly what it was, but total come up just a tad bit in this one. So for the Mercury, of course, they lose and they go home. And for the Lynx, they win and they get the winner of the Connecticut and Indiana series that I think is set to take place on Sunday. No matter what happens in any of these other games, is already kind of scheduled. So this is interesting, and I'll just share all of my notes for the game so you guys can see them here, and I'll read them so you don't have to, but you can if you want. So if you go back and look at what happened in game number 1, it really was a 3-point mirage by the Phoenix Mercury. I mean, they shot the ball really, really well from the 3-point line. Better than I bet you Minnesota thought that they were going to shoot the ball. They made 14 threes on 27 tries and had 50, and they shot 52% from the 3-point line. I think, like law of averages say that comes back down to earth. This was the first time that they made that many threes on the road. I'm sorry, this was not the first. I don't know if they made that many threes on the road this season or not, but I do know this was the first time that the Minnesota Lynx gave up 14 threes all season. The Mercury make an average of about 9 threes per game on the road. So they hit 5 more threes, which is 15 more points and this total went up and over by 38.5 points. So the Mercury, like I said, make about 9 threes per game, and they shoot about 33% from the three-point line. Like I said, they made 14 threes and they shot 52%. So they are due for some regression here. And I like Coach Crystal Reeves. I think that she'll make the adjustments and get out. We cashed on Brittany Griner to go under her 14.5 points in this game. And I think as much as I want to kind of run it back with Brittany Griner to go under again, I do think that they probably won't help as much, because I think that's where some of the three-point shots came from. When I gave out the breakdown and the analysis on why I like Brittany Griner to go under her points, I said that the Minnesota Lynx, they always send help. This is a team that really scrambles because Elena Smith she's not the biggest, as far as size, she's not the biggest defender. So a lot of the times you'll see, Kayla McBride, Nafisha Collier, Courtney Williams come over and kind of help out, and then everybody else will kind of rotate to get back to a man. I don't know if we see that. I think Brittany Griner could potentially, you just live with the twos if you're, Crystal Reeves, in my opinion, and not give up those three-point shots. So what I wrote here is in in series game 2, when the home favorite won, but didn't cover, which the Minnesota Lynx didn't, they're 6-1 straight up, 5-2 against the number, 5-1-1 to the over in game 2s. This trend says that Minnesota should be able to score here. When I went back and looked at Minnesota in, just their back-to-back games versus the same opponent this season, they played 3 opponents in back-to-back situations this season, and they're 3-0 straight up, 2-1 against the number, 3-0 straight up and against the spread. So they make whatever necessary adjustment. They're 2-1 to the over, with those games going over by about 15.8, about 16 points per game. That tells me that the Minnesota Lynx are going to continue to be able to score the basketball. They also went up and over their team total in each one of those games, scored at least 87 points in each one of those games. Go back to last game, they scored 102 points in that game. And I do kind of feel like the only chance for the Mercury, I put this in the write-up in my opinion section for this game on Sunday. I feel like the only chance the Mercury got is if they do get hot from the three-point line. That's what we saw in game number 1. That game was actually, they actually came back and took the lead. Just wasn't sustainable. And, they couldn't get stops. And the Mercury all season have been a team that can't get stops. We know that they play undersized because, it's really just Brittany Griner out there with 4 guards. And I don't think that they're going to be able to replicate the 14 threes that they made in the last game. I'm not laying 9 with the Minnesota Lynx in this spot, but I kind of feel like the Mercury going to continue to play fast. They continue to shoot a lot of threes. And if they don't, then they'll dump the ball down to Brittany Griner and see if she can score one-on-one. So I guess my top look for the game, while I want to take Brittany Griner to go under again, like I said, I'm scared off just a tad bit. I like the Minnesota Lynx team total to go up and over. It's 84.5. I haven't bet it yet, but I think that they can get to 85 points. I think it's 85.5 on some books. I think they can get to 86 as well, because I do think the Mercury going to play super fast, and I'm not in the interest of buying stock in the Mercury's defense. So I said all that to say it'd be Minnesota Lynx team total up and over here, in my opinion, if I'm playing anything. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Let's see. What up, Chad? Appreciate you for tapping in. Mark says Lynx first half minus the 5. Justin says he moved on the under 161, so he likes the under. Helm says Lynx are going to absolutely destroy Phoenix tonight. I think that they win too. I just don't know how many. I don't know by how much, and if the back door is going to be open or not, with it being such a big spread. I do think that they got the best shot from the Mercury, though. I'm not looking for the Mercury to do anything like they had done. Remember, the other thing I'll say about this that kind of talks, kind of speaks to what Helm is saying. If you look at the Mercury as a road dog this season, and I said this on the Sunday show, they were 3-9. I'm sorry, 3-8 against the number as a road dog this season. 1-10 straight up. 1-10 straight up. 3-8 against the number as a road dog this season. So this is the spot where they typically don't cover. They lose by an average of 13 points per game. They scored 95 points. They hadn't scored 95 points on the road in any road game since May the 21st, when they scored 98 against the Aces, and that was first week of the season, I think. So this is not an offense that's going to be able to replicate that success, in my opinion. They did score 89 points against the Fever, but that's the Fever's defense, and a team that plays pretty fast. The Lynx don't play that fast. They just make a lot of shots when they're hitting, and that's where you see the 3-point variance at. So, kind of agree with you on this, Helms. Chad says too much fraud sun love. Fever make it interesting tonight. Okay. Blunt says is Lynx or nothing, Chris. I don't think Mercury can shoot that well again, and I agree. I absolutely agree. What up, Bissy? Fred says he likes DT over 2 threes, perhaps her last game, and back to that well with BG under her points. Yeah, DT gonna go out shooting. I don't know how many she ended up hitting. Real quick, let me just double check. DT ended up hitting 5. She was 5 for 10 from the 3-point line. Natasha Cloud was 4 for 8 from the 3-point line. I don't think Natasha Cloud shoots that well again. Natasha Cloud had a great game: 33 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds. Her points, rebounds, and assist line is interesting to me, and she probably can go up and over. Just because she's going to be out there, and I think that DT doesn't play as well. Kalia Copper struggled in that last game. It was only her second game back, coming back from that back injury that she had, and I do think the starters are going to play heavy minutes. They all played above 30 in that last game, outside of Sophie Cunningham. So yeah, I mean, the Mercury going to shoot a bunch of threes, like I said. It just matter of if they're going to make them or not. DT to hit 2 is she gonna definitely go out shooting for it, and I do think it's her last game too. I think she's gonna retire, but that's just my opinion. Cuppa Joe says Bree Jones under her 14.5 points is on Bet Rivers. I saw that like minus 132. It's a little juicy, but yeah, I like that as well. Cuppa Joe. Lynx should, but I feel like too many points. Mike says. Helm says, nah, you got to keep running grinder. No way Mercury shoot like that again, especially Natasha. Yeah, I kind of thought that, man. I think we cashed at 15.5 and they dropped at 1 point, and it's juiced, I think, like minus 125. I was watching the, post practice yesterday, and Tibbet said, talked about making an adjustment. I just think that if you're the Mercury, you got to score the ball from the 3-point line to keep up with Minnesota's offense. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll end up adding Brittany Griner under again, but she has gone under every game so far this season. It wasn't even sweaty in that last game. I think she finished with 10, and she also shot lower than 40% from the field in every one of those games as well. So yeah, I can see going back to the well here, Helms. Mercury can't hang, Mark says. If it goes to 10, I'm on it. I mean, did anyone cover spreads in the playoffs so far? Yeah, game 1, all the favorites covered. Except the Lynx. In game 2 so far, all the dogs have covered. Michael likes the over. I think the over is a pretty good look here. Let's see. Dav says 197 points in game 1. No way we see that level of offensive efficiency again. There should be rebounds everywhere. Who do you think grabs all these boards for the Lynx? The feature to get 10 got my attention, and I agree with that as well. So if you go back and look at it, the Phoenix Mercury offensive rating was a 117.1. The Minnesota Lynx offensive rating was a 125.7. They're both due for some regression. Nafisa Collier went under her rebounds prop, which was sitting at 16.5. I mean, 16.5. I think it was 8.5. She finished with just 6. But she was the high rebounder on the team. Her and Bridget Carlton both had 6. Courtney Williams also had 6 rebounds. Courtney Williams' assist is probably a sneaky look as well, because she just always at the helm out there. She had 8 in game 1. She probably gets it again. I'm in the business of fading the Mercury's defense. She says he likes something I said. I don't know. I've been saying a lot. Ball Talk says 9-point spread seems like a lot on these back-to-back playoff series. Fatigue, game plan, familiarity are all factors in this case. I agree. Chad says 1 to 10, you can get at plus 165. Andy likes the Lynx first half minus the 5. Redemption says you have to look at feed points again because Cloud gonna guard her again because Coach Nate been doing that dumb stuff all year. He does put Natasha Cloud or anybody. He'll probably have her guarding Brittany Griner if she was on the opposing team. Alex says, do you think over or under on the total, Chris? I think over on the total. I know that, I just kind of talked about some regression coming from the offensive side of the basketball, probably for both teams. But I'm not into fading the Mercury. I'm not in the back in the Mercury's defense. And I do think, you would need them to get hot from the three-point line for them to go up and over their team total. But when I looked at it, their team total was still low. Like the team total right now, on Sunday, it was 74.5. And today is 75.5. So, I mean, it's not I think it was 74.5 is up to 75.5. So I kind of feel like Minnesota can still play fast. I'm not looking for the Mercury to get a lot of stops on the defensive end. So I would go up and over. The total, the points, the total only, I think, went up 2 or 3 points. And this game went over by 38.5 points in game number 1. Cam says, came in to say, what up, Chris? Rarely able to catch the morning show. Locked in. Tarashi on her threes going out like beam. Kobe was letting them fly last game versus Utah Jazz, man. Shout out to Beam, man. Rest in peace, Kobe. Dropping down says Lynx played with their food in game 1. I just think that they didn't go out the three-point line. Chad says 0.25 units on Fever minus 10.5 at plus 1,000, and he took the Fever plus 7.5. Marquis says he likes the double result. Bitsy likes Alyssa Thomas, 8.5 assists. Felt like she could get 10 again. Rather than play a double-double at plus 180, I built it 10 and 10 at plus 250 on Bet365 for half a unit. Yeah, that is always, if you guys have access to Bet365, it's always better to build them out because you'll get much better odds than what they're going to give you for the double-double. Shout out to Dropping Dimes. He talks about that a lot on the show and kind of brought it to my attention. What up, Big Marv? Maybe put up 27 and Fever shot horrible. Regression due both ways. Fever are live in Chad's opinion. Okay. Even if they don't play defense, Chad? Because I kind of lean opposite, but I didn't bet it. Grana needs to follow DT out the door. Dropping down said, I don't think she got too many years left either, but we'll see. Helm says he don't think she will retire. Dream says, top of the morning, my guys. Be careful on Fee and Elena Smith. Rebounds. Hans Allen is the dog. My Lynx need it, and she closed the game. She did. She absolutely did. She did. That's an interesting point. What did she finish with, Dream? She finished with, shout out to my guy, Dream. What up, Dream? 4 for 6. She had 10 points and 5 rebounds. And in the fourth quarter, specifically, let's see. Fourth quarter, Misha Allen finished, she played 6 minutes, 6 of the 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. And Elena Smith only finished with 3 minutes and 38 seconds in the fourth quarter. So, if you think that's going to repeat itself, then Elena Smith probably goes under. She finished with 0 points, 2 blocks, 1 assist, and no rebounds in the fourth quarter. Misha Allen had 2 rebounds in the fourth quarter. So shout out to Dream for that. She says Lynx team total over. No way she retired without a farewell tour, Helm says. I kind of agree with that, but we'll see. We'll see. Chad says she had 3 farewell tours. She hasn't been useful in 3 years. All right, we're rambling. I got to get off of here, man. I got to get off of here. Let's see. Chad also says they'll play serviceable defense with the season on the line, but they haven't played a defense all season and haven't managed better wins than the Sun did. Okay. Yeah. All right. So quick recap. Melissa Smith, like I said, I think her minutes are shot, especially with Dantes, being the only vet on the team. She shot the ball really well. I did play Melissa Smith already. I'm going to play Bree Jones, just haven't gotten there and put the money in on that yet. Under 13.5 points, or you can take the 14.5. That's super juice for Bree Jones. Like I said, I just don't like the matchup for Bree Jones. Next round, she'll probably get a matchup, where she can take advantage, but not against Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston is she's a really good perimeter defender. Can't say that about the other people on Indiana Fever. I do lean Connecticut minus the 6. Like I said, I just haven't seen any level of defense from the Fever. Do Connecticut, regress to the mean, like Chad says? I think that they won't shoot the ball as well. But I do think that their defense still shows up. I mentioned this. The Fever have only scored, 71, 72, and 69 points in the 3 games in Connecticut. I think that they struggle to score the ball here again, especially with DeWanna Bonner guarding Caitlin Clark. So yeah, and I also lean under in the game. I do think it's gonna be a little bit of an under game, but the variance kind of keeps me off of that game. So again, the plays in red have not been bet yet, but I'm probably gonna get there on Minnesota team total as well. Because even if Minnesota comes back down to earth, I still think that they get the 85 points against the Mercury, because the Mercury gonna shoot up a ton of threes, and I think Minnesota can continue to shoot the ball pretty well against that defense. And I think Phoenix gonna play pretty fast. Brittany Griner, she's still on the list. Like Helen said, under 14.5 points. You got to go back and listen to the breakdown that I gave out in the last game. But we did cash on Brittany Griner to go under 14.5 points. I think that's on the board for today as well. And that'll be the show, man. Resources, as I always like to share here. If you guys are interested in checking out OddsJam, you can get 20% off your first month using code CBC. And same thing for Moneyballer, 50% off your first month using code ChrisBeCappinn with 2 P's and 2 N's. Bunch of great useful stuff over there that just helps you make profit in the W. Pretty good. Hopefully we can keep it up tonight. If you enjoyed the show, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share. Let me know what you guys are betting. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. The link for my official plays in the description. Shout out to everybody who came in and, just kind of helped me cap the games this morning, kind of, sharing your opinions and your thoughts on the game as well. Never really give you guys enough credit, but I do appreciate people, some sharp people in the chat. And I appreciate you guys for coming through, kicking it with me every single morning, kind of making the show better. So link for all my official plays is in the description, as it always is, man. Bet responsibly on all your action. Best of luck. Enjoy your Wednesday. Catch you guys in the next one.